Mom yelled at me to get out, called me a parasite like I was some burden they had to shake off. So I left. No fight, no begging. A few months later, Dad showed up, furious. "Where's my truck?" he snapped. I looked him in the eye and told him the truth. And whatever power they thought they had over me vanished in that moment. They both went silent. All right, let's get into it. I was 22, standing in the living room I'd grown up in, when Mom's voice hit me like a slow, twisting knife. "You're a selfish leech, Eli. Get out, and don't come back." Her face was flushed, eyes blazing like I'd shattered something she couldn't piece back together. Dad stood off to the side by his old recliner, staring down like the floor held all the answers. My sister Lacey leaned against the wall, arms crossed, with this smug little grin like she'd finally won. Tyler, my younger brother, muttered "good riddance" as he scuffed the carpet with his heel. I'd always been the outsider, working long hours at the auto shop just to help cover the bills, electricity, internet, all the stuff they used like it came free. The fight that night? I missed Lacey's birthday dinner. I was doing a double shift so their internet wouldn't get cut off, but that didn't mean squat to them. We'd argued plenty before, but this time, something was different. This wasn't just another yelling match. It felt like a line had been drawn. Final. Mom's words didn't feel like heat-of-the-moment rage. They sounded like a door slamming in my face. I walked to my room, the one with the squeaky bed and baseball posters faded from sun and time, and grabbed my old duffel bag. Tossed in some jeans, a couple shirts, my jacket that still smelled like motor oil and fresh laundry. My hands were shaking, but I kept packing. I wanted to say something that would make them look at me, really see me, but the words caught in my throat. And anyway, what good would it do? They'd already made up their minds. I stepped outside, the night air sharp against my face. The porch light buzzed overhead, throwing jagged shadows across the blue mailbox we painted together when I was 10. Then I heard it, the soft click of the front door locking behind me. My rusty old Chevy was parked at the curb, with $200 to my name and half a tank in the gas. I slid into the driver's seat, gripping the wheel, feeling the weight of it all, Mom's fury, Dad's silence, Lacey's smugness, Tyler's cheap shot. I wasn't just leaving a house. I was leaving a whole part of my life behind. The road ahead was pitch black, and I had no clue where it would take me. But I turned the key, took a breath, and promised myself I'd make it through. The first few nights out on my own, I barely slept. Derek, one of the guys from the shop, let me crash on his couch. I was grateful, but it didn't feel like home. His apartment smelled like old coffee and dog fur, and his pit bull, Rusty, snored louder than a busted muffler. I'd lie awake, watching the ceiling fan wobble like my thoughts, replaying Mom's screaming, Dad's blank stare. I kept wondering, were they sleeping peacefully? Was Lacey still smirking? Did Tyler even feel a shred of guilt? Derek never pushed me to open up. He'd just hand me a cold beer and say, "You'll figure it out, Eli." He meant well, but he had his own problems to juggle. I couldn't stay there forever. I started spending my days looking for a place to call mine. The shop paid okay, but rent in this town? That was a whole other beast. I drove around, checking bulletin boards at gas stations, flipping through grease-stained classifieds. Most landlords wanted first and last month's rent plus a deposit, which was laughable when all I had was a stretched paycheck and 2 crumpled bills in my wallet. I wasn't looking for luxury, just a place where I could breathe. After about a week, I spotted a listing for a tiny studio out on the edge of town. The building looked tired, made of red brick with a buzzer that only worked if you smacked it just right and a dumpster that smelled like it had seen war. The landlord was this gruff guy in his 60s, with a grip like rough sandpaper. He glanced at my work boots and said, "You look like you pay on time." The apartment wasn't winning any awards. It was one room, leaky sink, humming fridge, stuck window. The carpet had more stains than color, and the lights flickered like they were nervous. But standing there with my duffel slung over my shoulder, I felt something stir pride, maybe, or just plain relief. I signed the lease, handed over every penny I had, and walked away with a key that felt like a fresh start. That night, I moved in. Just me, a sleeping bag, and 4 walls. The place was empty and the silence felt loud, but it was mine. The next day, I hit up the thrift store, my budget tighter than a strip bolt. I found a mattress for $20, lumpy but clean, and a beat-up lamp with a bent shade. The cashier, this kind older lady with silver hair and a smile that made you forget your problems for a minute, asked if I was setting up my first home. I just nodded. Didn't say much, but her kindness stuck with me. Back at the apartment, I set the mattress by the window, plugged in the lamp, and watched the soft glow fill the room. It made the space feel less hollow. I pulled an old poster from my bag, some cheesy mountain scene I'd picked up at a garage sale years ago, and taped it to the wall above the bed. It wasn't much, but it was mine, and that mattered. Lying there that night, I could hear the neighbor's TV through the wall, some game show, with applause that sounded like it came from another universe. I thought about the home I left behind. Mom's meatloaf in the oven, Dad tuning into baseball games on the radio, Lacey's music thumping through the walls. I used to fix the leaky sink for them, mowed the lawn after work. Did they even notice I was gone? I wrapped the sleeping bag tighter around me, my chest heavy, not with anger, but with something quieter, sadder. I didn't know who I was without them. I'd spent so long trying to keep things from falling apart, working extra hours so Tyler could have new sneakers, covering bills they never thanked me for. Now it was just me, and I didn't know if that was freedom or a hole I didn't know how to fill. I closed my eyes, the slow drip of the sink marking time. I whispered to myself, I'll figure this out. Maybe I get a chair next. Or a little rug. Something to make this place feel like it wasn't just a stopgap. I pictured tomorrow the clang of tools at the auto shop, the guys joking over lunch. It's not blood, but it's something solid I can hold on to. I don't really know where I'm going from here, but I've got a key in my pocket, a place to sleep, and a light that I actually pay for. For now, that's enough to keep my feet moving, just taking it day by day. The auto shop's the closest thing I've got to peace these days, a loud, greasy kind of peace with rattling tools and the smell of motor oil in the air. I'm up before sunrise most mornings, lacing up my old boots, ones so beat up the soles are flaking like old bark. My studio apartment's still empty looking, just a mattress on the floor, a lamp, and this poster of a mountain that I guess reminds me to keep climbing. But I don't hang around. I'm out the door quick, clutching a thermos of lukewarm coffee like it's my anchor. The shop's only a mile away, and I walk it to save gas. There's something about that cool morning air, the mix of wet pavement and early dew, that helps clear my head. I focus on the rhythm of my boots hitting the sidewalk and let that drown out everything else. Out there, I don't hear my mom's voice or think about Dad's cold silence. Once I'm at the shop, I'm in my zone. By 8, I'm elbow deep in a Chevy engine, trying to chase down a misfire while classic rock plays in the background. The guys, Frank, Luis, and Big Hank, they're solid. They bust my chops over how much coffee I drink, but they don't ask too many questions, and I like it that way. I'm not ready to open up about getting kicked out or how my own family branded me a leech, even though I was the one keeping their lights on half the time. So I keep my head down, focusing on spark plugs, oil changes, and that click a wrench makes when it locks into place just right. I take every extra shift I can get, late nights spent rebuilding transmissions or balancing tires. That overtime? It's saving me. I've managed to pay rent, and I even picked up a folding chair and a used microwave. It's not much, but those little victories start to add up. Lunch breaks are probably my favorite part of the day. We head out back, plop down on old milk crates, and tear into sandwiches from that corner deli. Frank's always telling some wild story from his trucking days, and Luis laughs so hard he almost chokes on his soda. I laugh along, genuinely, but I keep my own stories locked away where they can't be picked at. I don't tell them how Tyler and I used to eat dinner while roasting superhero movies, or the afternoons I spent helping Dad fix up that dusty old radio in the garage. Those memories feel like they belong to someone else now. Still, sitting out there with those guys, listening to their banter, it fills a space in me. Even if it only lasts an hour, it feels like I belong. But then one night, while I'm locking up, my phone buzzes. It's Tyler. My stomach clenches. I haven't heard from him since everything went sideways. His message is short, sharp like a jab. Real classy, Eli. Walk out on us and still stiff Lacey for that phone bill? That's low, even for you. I just stare at the screen, the letters swimming. That phone bill? I paid that thing $120 last year when Lacey said she'd pay me back. She never did. And now Tyler's flipping the script, making me look like the freeloader. My fingers hover over the screen. I want to text back, to remind him I paid for their Wi-Fi, the groceries, the little things they took for granted. But I don't. What's the point? They've already made up their minds about who I am. I shove the phone in my pocket and start walking home, the route somehow feeling longer than usual. Streetlights flicker above me, tossing shadows across cracked pavement. And there's this tight ache in my chest, not just anger, but something deeper. Like pressing on an old bruise you didn't realize was there. I think about that house, how I'd walk through the door after work and Mom would be setting the table, the smell of her meatloaf filling the place. I'd fix whatever needed fixing, dripping sinks, wobbly shelves, because that's what I did. Did Tyler really forget all that? Did any of them ever actually notice? Back in my apartment, I dropped down on the mattress. The springs squeak under me. Through the wall, I can hear my neighbor's TV, some upbeat cooking show humming away like life's fine everywhere else. I pull my phone back out and reread Tyler's text. Part of me wants to call him, ask him straight up why he's twisting things. But deep down, I know it won't matter. Nothing I say is going to change their version of the story. So I place the phone face down on the floor and stare up at that mountain poster. Its painted peaks are glowing faintly in the soft lamplight. I'm worn out, not just from work, but from the weight of everything I've been dragging around. Still, I tell myself, tomorrow's a fresh shift, another shot at building something better. I close my eyes. The microwave hums gently in the background. I hold on to that thought, small as it is, because right now, it's all I've got. The next morning, I'm standing at the counter, really just a chunk of old Formica balanced on crates, when I notice something off in my bank app. It's Sunday. The shop's closed. I'm sipping instant coffee, scrolling through transactions. Rent's paid. Fridge is full, mostly ramen and canned soup, but the math doesn't track. I've been smart, skipping takeout, sticking to basics. So why is my account draining little by little every month? I start digging through my statements, swiping back through the months, until I spot it. A recurring charge $180 tagged Auto Loan D. Morgan. And it hits me like a sucker punch. Dad's truck. I've been paying that damn note since I was 19, back when he said it was just temporary. He never brought it up again. And I never stopped sending the money. I just kept going. Same way I paid the Wi-Fi bill or covered Tyler's phone plan. That's what you do for family, right? That's what I believed. But now, sitting there in that tiny apartment, I see it clearly. They leaned on me until I wore down, like some bald tire no one thought to replace. Without really thinking, I grab my jacket and head out the door. My legs move on autopilot. I end up at the bank. The teller, Martha, according to her name tag, peers over her glasses as I ask her to cancel the payment. You sure? She asks, voice soft. I nod, my voice low but firm. Yeah, I'm done. On the walk back, the sky's gray with oncoming rain. And somehow, I feel lighter, like I just shrugged off a coat I didn't even realize I was wearing. Still, there's a tug inside me, a quiet doubt that doesn't go away that easy. What if Dad can't make the payment? What if they end up losing the truck? I picture him out front, standing in the driveway, polishing that beat-up old Ford like it's his trophy, while Mom hands him a glass of iced tea when the heat's unbearable. I shake the thought off and nudge a pebble with my boot down the sidewalk. They tossed me out and slapped the word, Leech, on my back. I don't owe them a damn thing anymore. And yet, the thought sticks around, clinging like oil under my fingernails. No matter how hard I try, it won't wash away. Back at my apartment, I keep myself moving just to stay sane, stacking dishes, folding the one towel I've got that's not falling apart. I glance at the mountain poster on my wall, those jagged peaks cutting into a fake sunset, and wonder if Dad ever even realized I was the one covering that truck payment. Did he think it just paid for itself, like magic? I snort, but there's no humor in it. I've been their safety net for years, pouring my paychecks into their lives while they barely noticed I existed. Canceling that payment wasn't just about cutting costs. It was me drawing a damn line, saying I count too. Later, I step out to the corner store, just needing a change of air. The guy behind the counter, older fellow with a faded Vietnam vet cap, rings up my loaf of bread and a carton of milk while chatting about the weather. Storm's rolling in, he says, nodding toward the cloudy sky. I smile, out of habit, but my thoughts are tangled, stuck on what Martha asked me and the weight behind that decision to stop paying. Back home, I slap together a sandwich. Bread's going stale, but it'll do. I eat standing up, staring out the stuck window as the first raindrops trace crooked lines down the glass. That feeling in my chest returns, dull and heavy, not rage exactly, but something more tender, more raw. I've cut the chain, yeah, but it doesn't feel like victory. It's more like shutting a book you'll never open again, realizing the ending was never what you wanted. I sit down on the mattress, the only light coming from the lamp beside me, shadows stretching long as the rain taps out a rhythm on the glass. I don't know what comes next. Got work in the morning. Maybe I'll save up for a decent chair soon. But one thing I do know, I'm done carrying other people's weight. It's not much, but it's a step forward, and for now, that's good enough. I'm sweeping the shop floor, the broom scratching against the concrete, when I feel my phone buzz in my pocket. It's a slow kind of day, So quiet you can hear the neon sign outside humming. Ever since I pulled the plug on Dad's truck payment, I've kept my head down, focusing on work and building something of my own. The apartment's shaping up a bit. I scored a rickety table for $10, and somehow I've been sleeping better. Even the drip from the kitchen sink has started sounding almost peaceful. But then I check my phone, and my stomach flips. Luis, one of the guys from the shop, sent me a screenshot. It's a post from Lacey. A picture of Mom sitting at the old kitchen table, my kitchen table, with her eyes all puffy like she'd been crying. The caption reads, "Eli walked out on us, left Mom like this. Some family, huh?" I scroll down, and it's a flood of strangers calling me things like deadbeat and selfish jerk. I lean the broom against the wall, my hands suddenly slick with sweat. The shop's empty, just me and the faint scent of oil hanging in the air. I scroll through the post again, feeling each word land like a punch. Lacey's painted me as the villain, just disappeared without a care. No mention of the bills I covered. No mention of all the repairs, the late-night calls, the years I spent keeping their world from falling apart. No mention of Mom yelling until my ears rang when she kicked me out. And the comments, they cut the deepest. Random folks, people who don't know a damn thing, throwing stones like they've lived my life. Total loser, one writes. Poor Mom, another adds, with a crying emoji. I want to fire back, set the record straight. But my fingers stall. What could I even say that wouldn't sound pathetic, like I'm scrambling for pity? I shove the phone in my pocket and step outside. The air's thick and warm, heavy with the promise of rain. The parking lot's quiet except for a stray cat darting past the dumpster. I sink down onto the curb, elbows on my knees, just trying to catch my breath. It's not just the post. It's that feeling of being wiped away, replaced by a version of me that's all wrong. I think about that kitchen table, the one I sanded down when I was 16. I remember laughing with Mom over her lumpy mashed potatoes. Did she actually cry, or was it all for Lacey's camera? The question twists something inside me more hollow than furious. Back in the shop, I can't seem to focus. Frank notices, asks if I'm all right. I just shrug and say, rough day. He gives a quick nod, doesn't press, and I'm grateful for that. Later, I clock out and head to the back lot where I've been working on an old Yamaha. It's a junker, rusted frame, engine barely breathing, but it's mine. I grab a wrench and start fiddling with the carburetor, the metal cool and solid in my grip. Every twist, every turn, feels like taking back a little control. The radio's on low, some twangy old country song about heartbreak and moving forward. It fits. This bike's not pretty, but it's real. No pretending, no guilt trips. I keep at it until the sky turns that bruised purple color. My hands are filthy, but when the engine gives a little cough, I grin. It's not fixed yet, but it's close. I wipe my forehead with my sleeve and think about that post, about Mom's face, about all the things they're saying. Yeah, it stings, but that's not the whole story. I picture my little apartment, my table, the lamp, that quiet hum of my own space. It's not glamorous, but it's mine, built with my own hands. I don't need their version of me anymore. On the way home, I pass by the corner store. The lights are buzzing like always. The clerk, the old vet, gives a nod. You look like you're carrying the world, he says with a half-smile. I manage to chuckle. Just holding a piece of it, I reply. Back in my room, I crash onto the mattress. The neighbor's TV is playing some game show, muffled through the wall. I don't bother checking my phone again. Let Lacey's post sit there. I'm tired, not from working all day, but from all the baggage they keep trying to dump on me. As I lie there, I can still hear the Yamaha's engine trying to come alive. It sparks something in me, not quite hope, but something close. Maybe it's just plain stubbornness. I'll keep going, one bolt at a time. I'm at the sink in the shop, scrubbing the grease from my hands, when my phone rings. The sharp sound slices through the quiet. And there it is, Dad's name, glowing on the screen. First time it's shown up in months. My heart skips when I see his name, but I dry my hands on a shop rag and answer anyway, stepping into the break room for some space. His voice hits me like gravel scraped across pavement. Eli, why the hell was my truck repossessed? No greeting, no checking in, just that. Like a hammer dropping. I lean against the vending machine, its low hum buzzing in my ears, and take a breath. I stopped making the payments, I say, trying to sound calm even though my stomach's twisting in knots. You kicked me out, Dad. That wasn't my job anymore. There's a long pause on the line. I can faintly hear a dog barking, probably the neighbor's mutt. I picture him standing by that busted fridge I fixed last spring, hand on the handle I replaced. You can't just do that, he snaps, voice getting louder. That truck's mine, Eli. I close my eyes. The air in the break room smells like burnt coffee and old motor oil. I want to yell, to remind him I paid those bills for years and never got a single thank you. But I don't. I started covering that truck when I was 19. I say quietly. You never once asked how I managed it. Never once said thanks. I'm done, Dad. I'm not carrying that anymore. He stumbles over his next words, like he's tripping on the truth. That's not how families work, he says, like he's quoting some sacred rule I just broke in half. I almost laugh, but it catches in my throat. Family. Yeah, sure. I think about Lacey's social media post. About Tyler's silence. About Mom yelling while I packed my bags. I think about my little studio apartment, the table with the loose leg, and the motorcycle I'm slowly bringing back to life. That might be true for your version of family, I say, voice even now. But I'm doing what I need to do for me. My grip on the phone tightens, but my hands don't shake anymore. It's like something inside me finally clicked into place. He tries one more time, his voice softer now, almost lost. You're making this hard, son. Son. That word used to mean something, but now it just feels like an old tire, worn smooth and useless. I glance at the clock in the break room. It's past 6. I've got dishes to rinse and a carburetor waiting for me tomorrow. I've got to go, I say, not angry, just done. He starts to say something else, but I hang up. The silence that follows is louder than anything he could have said. I step outside. The lot's bathed in gray light as dusk settles in. Somewhere nearby, I catch the scent of fresh-cut grass drifting in the breeze. I stand there for a second, phone in my pocket, feeling bruised but grounded. That call rattled me, sure, but it didn't knock me down. I'm not that kid anymore, the one who paid his way into being useful. I start walking home, the sidewalk worn but familiar under my boots. And I realize I meant every damn word I said. I'm still catching my breath from Dad's call when my phone buzzes again. Mom's name lights up the screen like a warning sign. I hesitate, thumb hovering over the answer button. But I tap it, bracing for impact. Her voice cuts through, high and sharp. Eli, how could you do this to us? That truck was your father's lifeline. I keep walking, boots scuffing against the pavement, the streetlights flickering to life. I let her talk. Let her pour it all out. Years of me paying their bills, sacrificing my sleep and peace, and now I'm the one tearing the family apart? You're heartless, she says, and I hear Lacey in the background, throwing fuel on the fire. Always were, Eli, she sneers. Tyler's there too, I can feel it, but he stays quiet, like he doesn't know which side he's on. I reach the corner store, its neon sign buzzing overhead, and lean against the brick wall. The phone's hot against my ear. I could let it fly, list every dollar I handed over, every night I stayed late at the shop so they'd have Wi-Fi, groceries, even Lacey's damn phone. But I don't. My voice stays steady, the way it does when I'm explaining repairs to a customer. Mom, I paid for that truck for years. The Wi-Fi, the bills, all of it. You never once said thank you. You called me a leech and shoved me out the door. I'm not carrying you anymore. She doesn't answer right away. The silence hangs heavy, thick like storm air. I hear a chair scrape across the floor. Maybe she's sitting down. Lacey mumbles something I can't make out. I push off the wall and start walking again, the glow of the store falling behind me. Then she softens, voice lower, a little shakier. We're family, Eli. You don't just walk away from that. I think of the things I've built. My space, that table with the cactus that somehow hasn't died, the Yamaha that finally turned over last week and let out that perfect sputter. That's my family now, I say, throat tightening but voice strong. The things I put together with my own hands, not the ones I had to beg to be part of. I pause at the front door to my building, hit the buzzer. Family's supposed to see you, I say, almost to myself. And you didn't see me. Before she can reply, I end the call. The click feels final, like closing a door and locking it behind me. Inside, I collapse onto the mattress. The lamp throws a warm circle on the wall. Through the wall, I can hear the neighbor's TV, some game show rerun, canned laughter echoing like it's from another world. My hands are trembling a little, not from fear, something else. Like I finally set something down I didn't realize I'd been carrying. Their voices still bounce around in my head. Mom's desperate guilt, Lacey's cutting tone, Tyler's silence. They wanted me to fold, to feel guilty. But I didn't. I told the truth. Plain and simple. And now it feels like I'm finally standing upright after being bent for so long. I grab a soda from the fridge, that can cold against my skin, and settle by the window. Outside, headlights carve through the night. I'm not angry. Not anymore. It's quieter now, more like that feeling when a favorite song fades, and you know it by heart, but you don't need it anymore. This little apartment? It's mine. My rules. My effort. They can't take that away from me. Il Euro, I'll be back at the shop, wrench in hand, working on what's real. What's mine? It's been 6 months since I hung up on Mom, and yeah, that ache's still there, but it's quieter now. Like a radio left on low in another room. My studio's still small, still humble, but it's mine. The table's holding steady, and it's even got a cactus that's somehow still alive. The Yamaha's done. Chrome shines under the shop lights, and when I ride it down those back roads with the wind slicing past me, it feels like flying. I don't hear much from them these days. Dad sent a text once, something vague about catching up, but I never answered. Just left it there, sitting in my inbox like a ghost of something that used to matter. Luis mentioned Lacey's still sore that her post didn't ruin me. Apparently Mom tells people I just went my own way. Tyler? He's still the wild card. Frank ran into him at the deli and said he looked like he had something to say, but didn't. Honestly, I'm okay with the silence. The shop's become my steady ground. Frank, Luis, and Big Hank, they're more than just guys I work with. They're the kind that stick around. On slow afternoons, we grill burgers out back and laugh way too hard at Hank's terrible punchlines. My days follow a rhythm now. I work, I ride, I tinker. Thinking about building a coffee table next, something solid. My fridge doesn't just hold takeout and instant noodles anymore. Sometimes there's a steak in there, when I feel like treating myself. Last week, I replaced the strip under the kitchen sink. Not a big thing, but it felt like a win. I'm not rolling in money, but I've got stability. A life that makes sense, mine, not theirs. It fits me just right. Nights are when the quiet hits the hardest, though. I sit by the window, lamp casting its warm little glow. The neighbor's TV still stuck on those late-night talk shows. Sometimes, my mind drifts back to Mom's kitchen. The table I sanded when I was 16. The radio Dad kept glued to ball games. I wonder if they ever think about me, or if I've just become some blurry footnote in a story they tell with their own spin. Yeah, it still stings, but not like it used to. I've got stories of my own now. Like the day the Yamaha finally roared back to life. Or when Frank slapped my back after I got that raise. That stuff means something. That's real. I've learned something big. Family isn't just the people who share your blood. It's the ones who show up. The ones who actually see you. I spent years trying to earn their love, thinking if I paid enough, worked hard enough, they'd finally give it. But that's not how love works. It's not a transaction. Love's a choice. And they chose to look right through me. Getting kicked out? Yeah, it broke something in me. But it also cleared the way for something new. I found my worth, not in what they said about me, but in what I built with my own 2 hands. Fixing engines. Keeping that cactus alive. Riding with the wind in my face. I'm not some flawless hero, not by a long shot. I still have nights where I rewind old arguments in my head, thinking of better comebacks. But I've made peace with it. I'm living in a place where I'm no longer invisible. If you're out there, carrying more than your share, hear me out. You are enough. Letting go is tough, but it's the first real step toward finding your own road. And it's worth every mile. I lean back in my chair. The cactus on the table catches a little bit of light, and I smile. I don't need anyone's approval to know I'm doing all right. I've got my keys, my bike, my days, and that's enough.